Good day, ladies and James. There's nothing shown on this screen, man. On this screen, the main screen. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Insights of Sierra Leone. My name is Janisa Camara, and I just want to say it's a pleasure having you on this platform with me. It's always a pleasure, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you being able to have this opportunity of tuning in. I have a very special guest today, all the way from America, Lance K. Now, this show, we're not going to make it political. It's just for us to have an understanding of having a change in Sierra Leone. Now, Lance is someone who is very involved in a lot of things that are going on in Sierra Leone, but we're not going to focus onto that. Our own objective for today is just to see what changes that need to be done in Sierra Leone. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lance on the show. Lance, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, believe you me, it's a pleasure having you. You're someone sometimes I confide in when I'm having a bit of a conflict as to what is going on in Sierra Leone, and you're always able to give me some insights. So having you on this show is sincerely a pleasure. So I thank you for taking time of being with us.
Pleasure is mine.
Now, Lance was born in McKinney, but he grew up in Leone. Now, he's so involved in so many different activities with a lot of things that are going on in Sierra Leone. But, being that the election is coming up, Lance, and I do understand that, we're not going to talk about politics, but we're just going to talk on the basics. Now, the election is coming up in Sierra Leone. A lot of people, regardless, APC, SLPP, NGC, whatever party that is involved. The thing is that, just like in America, you're in America, that's why I bring this up. They tend to say, well, you know what? My father was a Republican. His father's father was a Republican, so I'm a Republican. I don't care what good or bad the Republicans or the Democrats are doing. I'm a Republican. And is it the same thing that is going on in Sierra Leone? Because my dad was, APC, so I'm going to be an APC. Even though APC is doing so much wrong, or SLPP is doing so much wrong, I don't care, because the fact that my father's father was an APC, his father was an APC, I'm going to be an APC. So what's your feedback? What's your response to that? Do you think that's how we should be as youths? Because we want a stronger government. So I don't think it should be because my father was APC or SLPP, I should be an SLPP.
I mean, my take into that is basically in Sierra Leone is people always go for colors. That's one thing that I experienced about it. And basically, this is really wrong, but for just going after color. If you say, okay, I'm in the red side, and this other one would say, I'm on the green side. So those two things always go with that. And sometimes people tend to coincidence with the tribe, and which is wrong. And as for today's youth, my talk is that the youth should follow wherever they see like a betterment for the youth, for the future of the country. And that's where I take it. That's why it's every time there's a topic that comes up, I always look for something that I know the next generation will be happy to deal with it.
But Lance, Um, just to go back, the youths don't have employment. There's no employment, so they always go with the people that are giving them money. So how can you make that statement? And what is this color zone? So I'm not aware of this color zone. So there's a red zone and a green zone. Explain that to us, please.
I mean, what I'm saying is the red zone goes to the APC, and the SLPP has the green. So there's always those two colors. Even right now, what's going on right now in Sierra Leone, when people see you wearing a green, automatically they just assume you're SLPP. If you wear red, they say you're APC. So those two colors, that people have to try and differentiate on it and just try and follow something that is way better for the youth of tomorrow. That's my own focus on it.
Well, I think that's just a vague statement because if we think about it, I'm struggling to eat, to put food on my table. And I
Right.
see a shirt that is green, but I'm not an
Green.
SLPP, but that's the shirt I can afford. So by me purchasing that shirt, does it differentiate what party I'm with? That's just an assumption. So why are we assuming as to such a thing?
Well, this is just the basic logic of typical Sierra Leoneans, like people saying it. It even comes to like they see you like I have a car which is like a Benz. When I bought my Benz, I took it to Sierra Leone, and people say, "Oh, you APC party? You part of the APC?" I say, "No, this is just the kind of color that I like for my cars." So people automatically just categorize you on that category. So this is the thing I'm talking about. That people need to stop that and try and follow something that is be better for the interests of the youth tomorrow, or for the youth for the benefit of the country, rather than just be pointing fingers or go with the colors because my mom was or my dad belonged to the green. I had to follow this green, even if the party is not doing well. Or when I was born in the red, I had to stay with this red, even if the party is not doing well or they're doing something bad. But you cannot point it out. That's my view about it.
I like the mere fact that you keep focusing on the youths because I'm a youth advocate. I
They're the future of
believe
tomorrow.
in the youths. I believe that the youths are the future of tomorrow. You understand?
Yes.
But the youths in Sierra Leone, they're not being portrayed in a proper way. The youths of Sierra Leone are being acknowledged as thugs and so forth, and the president government acknowledged them as thugs. What's your insight on that? Because to me, I feel as though if I don't have food to put on my table to support my children, or to support my elderly mother or my elderly father, I will do what is necessary. So does that define me as a thug?
No, really, that don't define you as a thug. Because one thing, the other problem that's affecting our country, especially Africa in general, is poverty and corruption. These are the things that be affecting Africa in general, not just Sierra Leone. So like a youth like this day, like okay, they'll be waking up in the morning without even knowing what it is you have for the day to eat or whatever how they could live to see the next day. So if somebody goes and give them maybe like 20,000 leons or this, that, automatically whatever that individual is telling them, some of them just tend to follow up their basic because they figure out in the next day or so, I'll depend on this guy to give me this 100,000 or 20,000, which I'll be able to live or able to buy my cigarettes. So this is the point about it, and that's why some of the leaders are not seeing into that. But when it comes to election, it's these youth who are parading for them, demonstrating for them, being out there singing. Some of them even get into accidents when they're celebrating. But once they get into power, they don't care about this youth.
And that is quite saddening. It's quite saddening, Lance, because I think many of our leaders come to school or have traveled abroad to the
Right.
US, Canada, London, and so many other countries. I think what they need to take aboard to Sierra Leone, election is coming up. I think
Yeah.
the reason why I decided to make this show as a change is for us to enlighten them, for them to see what they can do. Now, the job center that can be presented to Sierra Leone. The government can utilize a job center where these youths can go into and they can help these youths get a job and get them
Get a
off the
job.
streets. You understand? So
Yes.
I just feel as though a lot of things that are going on in Sierra Leone, the government is taking advantage of the youths. Now, if you were to come into power, hypothetically speaking, what would you do differently to support these youths?
Basically, for me to church and there, first of all, I'm not part of a politician or
Oh, no, no, no,
something like.
no.
I just want
I do
something
understand.
better.
That's why I say
But yeah, I just want
hypothetically.
something better for the youth of today. So what my take is that into every developing country, my own take is you have to empower the youth. One, by opening up industrial factories where the youth will be able to work and able to develop themselves. Schools, those are all the things that are able to develop other kids that they just working without knowledge or something. Because most of all these things is causing it is knowledge. You know, that's why, because if you have the common knowledge and have the education a little bit, and nobody could come in and just tell you black and blue, and you would just fall for it, and end up giving you $100 or 100,000 leones for you to lose your life when you cannot even afford to take care of your family.
Hmm. You know, people do so much wrong in reference to the need of money.
Yes.
Now, in Sierra Leone, we have our sisters that are selling themselves to a lot of foreigners due to the fact that they cannot get employment. And
Employment.
precisely. So, my whole caption on it is quite, I can, people sound vague, but I think there's so much that can be done. Now, I think it's the attitude that needs to change. How can we change the attitudes of these youths? How can we enlighten them? How can we help them? How can we support them? Because a change needs to occur. Sierra Leone needs to grow. Africa as a continent needs to change. Because if you think about it, I was talking to this young man I just met, and his name is Benjamin. And we went into the whole scenario of the fact that Africa has been separated as states. It was 1958, to the best of my recollection, it was 1958 when it was decided that Africa needs to become states. What can we do? What's your opinion? What's your take on it? How can we empower these youths to move forward?
My take into that, I just feel like, just like you say, most of these politicians or the ones on the top offices, they need to do more for the country or for the youths. That's one thing, like by creating a lot of facilities, education, company, and employment, and all this other stuff, where kids would not just wake up in the morning, don't know what is the next day is going to look like for him. You know, in America, it's good. It's a good system in America because, first of all, in America, as long as you're ready to work, you can make it. That's one belief we have in America. Unless you want to be lazy and hanging around the side, that's why people are saying that you will still have homeless in America. But there's limitation on some people, like they're frustrated into this tune, rather than some of them just being lazy rather than to work. But if you're ready to work, you can make it. You'll be able to afford for yourself and your family. You know, but in Africa now, Sierra Leone, the jobs are not there. You know, and guys are there. I see guys pushing wheelbarrows on Molankes with overloading those on Molankes. You will not surprise. How would this guy get this kind of energy to be able to push this kind of luggage? just to make more money. It is really bad.
You know, I'm sorry, you were saying something?
Did
Were
you
you
get
saying
me?
something?
Yeah, didn't you get my point?
I definitely got your point, Lance. But the thing is that there are doctors in Sierra Leone. There are so many professionals that are working and are still not getting paid. Do you
Getting paid,
understand?
it's true.
So how can we say we can create jobs when a lot of people feel as though if I go to work, I'm not going to get paid? Unlike in America, you go to work, if you get paid bi-weekly, oh, please believe, that second week, you expect that check or you expect your
Correct.
money in your account. If you get paid monthly, you expect that money in your account at the end of the month. But in Sierra Leone, it can go 6 months and you still don't get your check. You still don't get paid. And your employer still abuses you as an employee. So, how can we blame the community or these youths for their actions when the government is actually not doing what they're supposed to do?
The problem, what I be able to understand is some of these politicians or the leaders of Africa, they've been too greedy. And when you're being too greedy, you're depriving the other generation or the next person behind you. Human beings cannot be way too greedy in that sense, like you don't care who is next online or who is coming. You just depend on, okay, this is my time. I'm going to utilize everything I could utilize right now and enjoy the best I can, or I could steal the most money I could steal. I know when I leave power, I don't care about for the next guy. But if there's, and then there's no consequence about those people who are going after these politicians who are doing stuff like this, that get into these public sectors and try to manipulate and just destroy the system so that the next people will not survive on it. There's supposed to be a unit that will be arresting these people, bring them to trial, and let them face the consequences of the law.
Now, I'm happy you brought that up, the corruption aspect. You and I, we talk, and you're one person that I can really say if I need, you're one person that I can say if I really need information, you can really say you need to A, B, C, D, and E. You know what I mean? You don't say you need to A, B, C, Q, and Z. You just go by it straight. So there's this gentleman, the anti-corruption gentleman, Ben Khalifa, which indeed I've come to give so much respect to, because initially Ben Khalifa and I, we were bumping heads. And I spoke to Mr. Sisse. Mr. Sisse is a solicitor, lawyer, that said, well, you know what? This is he presented Ben Khalifa's, job duties. He told me what he can do, what he cannot do, and what line he cannot cross. But I think Ben Khalifa is getting all this corruption in place. Now, I also understand, Lance, because I know you. You're going to come attack me in a little bit if I don't clarify this. I know Ben Khalifa, I know that being that he is now under SLPP, he cannot arrest any corruption, people that are corrupted in this party. So he can only go after people that were in the APC. What can we do for this government that come into power is to give entitlement to people like Ben Khalifa that are trying to do their job? Put yourself in his place. He feels limited. He feels as though he can only go after APC because SLPP is in play. Now, when APC come into power, then he can go for SLPP, people that are corrupted. Why does it have to be always this and that? Why can't it just be, if you're doing wrong, I'm going to go after you? You being in America, Republican, Democrats, whatever, if you do wrong, they're coming after you. They don't wait till you out of that office. What's your input? How do you think we can correct all of this? There's so many other topics I want to talk about, Lance, but it's just that you keep opening these doors, so I'm just following you. What do you think we can do to stop this corruption or give this man the opportunity to do his job? Because Ben is watching. Khalifa is watching. He's always watching, so just be careful what you say.
The thing is, what I'm saying is about one thing about Africa or Sierra Leone or so in general. People tend to think like they're above the law. In America or advanced world, nobody's above the law. Even the president, if you break the law, they get you arrested. But in Africa, especially Sierra Leone, people tend to get that thinking that, you know who am I? Who I be? Eh? Who is me? I know this person. That this is not how the system's supposed to be operating. So if this person maybe, let's say, he lobbies for you for a job, and all of a sudden they put you in that position, you're not doing the right thing, and the next thing they want to do now, they try and take that job from you and put the next person that they think like they could do exactly what they want them to do, and which is wrong. And they turn in the old constitution upside down. And it's not right. People get to believe that, yes, you do wrong, you have to be arrested, and you have to be paid for your consequences.
I agree with you because you are one person I don't want to get on their wrong side because I don't want you to put an audio out for me, guys. I come in peace. Now, but, you know, the thing is that there was this thing that was going around where they said, it's not what you know anymore, it's who you know. When you go to an office in Sierra Leone, you present your qualification. They don't look at it. They ask you who sent you.
Correct.
I think that's ludicrous. I think that's absurd. Now, Ben Khalifa is someone that I think is quite qualified for this position, and I think he's doing an excellent job, you know. But at the end of the day, he's quite limited. And like you said, in America, if you do something wrong, you are held responsible. But the high courts are not doing their job. The Constitution is not basically being followed. And talking about the Constitution, let's follow on to, freedom of speech. There's no more freedom of speech in Sierra Leone lands. And I know this is not a political topic. I know this is not a political forum, so I'm not going to enter that. But what do you think in reference to the freedom of speech?
Just like I'm saying, the freedom of speech, this is all I'm saying. People are overusing their powers and misusing their powers whenever they put them in office position. And that's where they will go to XYZ for them just to get this position. And once they get to those positions on top of there, they're ready to abuse their powers. And which is bad, and nobody's holding them responsible for that. That's the same thing I'm saying. And there's supposed to be an entire body that's supposed to go after these things. This is a democratic country. Everybody's supposed to have his freedom of speech, freedom of religion, on all freedom of everything that you're supposed to deserve as a democratic country. This is why our late forefathers fight for this democracy. And now the country or whatever everything is just going backwards and backwards. I don't know if people really realize that, okay, I've been put on the power, on this position to help my people. But once they put them into this location, they don't care about the next people. That's how most of these politicians think in Sierra Leone or even in Africa. All they want to do now is enriching themselves and walk away and leaving the lame man with nothing.
There's this gentleman named Mr. Kanu here in the UK, very intelligent gentleman, and I had the opportunity to meet him, and which indeed I'm still trying to work with him. He's putting petitions out. Anything the president come into power with, That's what he should live with and his salary. We should be entitled to view his budget. You understand? And that's one thing we're working on. It's not going to happen overnight. We're still going through the whole process of it. But the president cannot the presidency, come into presidency with $50,000 and leave with $1 million. It's ludicrous to me. So we think that whatever the president comes with is what they should live with the salary, what they get paid, because they get paid. But a lot of our political leaders are getting bribes. They're getting bribes. Now, back to what we were just talking about, the freedom of speech. A lot of bloggers, a lot of editors are limited to what they can say. If they say something against the government, they are most likely to get arrested, to go to jail, to get beat up. The president's wife, and I will always say this, I'm in the UK. I'm in London. She's from London. Because I made a statement in reference to her husband, she called me to curse me out. Now imagine if I was in Sierra Leone. How would it have been? Was it going to be people coming to beat me up because I said something about her husband? Or were they going to come arrest me? What happened to the freedom of speech? Shepherd Stephen, Lance, if you recall, Shepherd Stephen used to be driving and people would say something to Shepherd Stephen, curse his mother or make fun of his big nose. Shepherd Stephen would stop and say, your mother. Do you remember?
Mother's good nose, yeah.
So what happened to all that? I'm not saying Shepherd Stephen was perfect, Lance, but all I'm saying is we had the freedom of speech. What's your take back on that?
Yeah, just as I'm saying, as I was saying, people are abusing their power, like in these positions, because that's where they're depriving people for their speech. Like they figured out you cannot express yourself, and which is bad. People should be able to express themselves into any democratic society. If I can't express myself, this is not a democracy. You know, I have the right. I could sit over here curse on Trump. Trump will not do nothing to me because I'm a legal citizen and I have the right to criticize him. But you can't do that in Africa, in some of these African countries. Even in Sierra Leone, if you call on Marabio or whatever, Fatima openly or something, there's people that comes in and just trying to destroy your life just because of this, and which is not good.
You know, the Iron Lady is a friend of Fatima's, and I love Anne to death. Annie, you know I love you, and you know I'm going to talk about you. Annie is from London, and she introduced Fatima to be Julius. You understand? She introduced these two. And Fatima has such a bad reputation here in the UK, but still, Anne introduced them, and they came together as a couple, went to Sierra Leone, and now, because Annie owns land on the beach, because Anne says something about Fatima, Fatima said, well, you think you got a mouth? I'm going to take your property.
Correct.
And they were friends.
Before, yes. You know?
What power do to people? What happened to, loyalty, freedom of speech, being able to express myself? What happened to all that, Lance? Lance, you are quite vocal, and that is why it's a pleasure to have you on the show. But you're holding back. Let it loose, Lance.
I mean, it's not like, just like I'm saying, it's this power people get in. When people get this power, they tend to abuse their powers. They tend to abuse their power. When somebody is fighting for power, they could go at least to your backyard begging for your vote. And once they get up there, some of them don't even come around your neighborhood or something. If you go see them in their offices, they ask you, how do you come? Corruption, how do you come? If the ordinary person, even if that individual had good ideas to bring into this person or to save this individual's life, they say, oh, I need to see so X, Mr. Minister. The security, first of all, will ask you, how do you come? So you need to see, first start giving money to the security before you could get into for your service, whatever service you came for. And the other thing that is what I'm saying, people are abusing their power way too much in Africa. Just like for females, when females are looking for jobs, most of these politicians or high rankings, they have to sleep with them before they could give them this position, which is bad. They don't rate people on their qualifications. Oh, yeah, she's qualified. Let me just give her this job so that she could have this job or this company to go thrive to a different level. The next thing they're going to start seeing what is behind her and to try to sleep with that individual. It's bad. Africa, we need to stop this, especially. We need to stop this in Africa.
You know, the thing is that election is coming up, Lance, and being that this show is about a change, and having you on the show because, like I always say, you and I go back to my Lance, and I say, Lance, what do you think we should talk about on the show? You know, who can I call? Who can I talk to? You always say, here's the number, call this person, here's this person, deal with this person. So having you on the show, I appreciate you trying to calm down yourself, and thank you for that. But being that election is coming up, I think that people need to understand that because your mother was APC, your grandmother was APC, and your great-grandmother was APC, or your father, your grandfather, the great-grandfather, don't mean you need to support that party. Support a party that you think is doing right. Correct, Lance?
That's not good. It's not good. When you see this person is doing, that's one thing I'm pretty sure you know me. If my brother is doing bad, automatically I'll point it out to you. My cousin did bad, I'll automatically point it out to you. That's the kind of person I am. I don't care who you are, X, Y. I always try to stand for my right, and I know the good things about it. And that's the same way my father is. So I'm not gonna sit down. You seeing this individual doing something wrong, just try and cover it this individual because of, oh yeah, you're related or this and that. You don't want to tell this individual the right truth. If your family, your father, your late father vote for this party, but you see the party is not doing well, it's time for you to divert or start educating some of these older people that this is not how the system operates now. This was way back how you guys were operating. But nowadays it's the 21st century. You guys need to change some of these policies. It's bad. They need to change some of these policies. You know, and I have another thing that I was gonna bring up to like concerning this freedom, like people cannot express their freedom. People go out to express their freedom, they gotta be consequences. Some people will tend to kill them or something just because they express their freedom. And look at what happened in Makeni or something like that. They went and killed innocent people. Now the people in Lunge, I'm from Lunge, people in Lunge are not even enjoying the light system. The light only comes in when there's flight. After the flights left, the entire airport is dark, completely dark. All the employees, and this is a shame for that country or for the leaders out there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a gentleman, a young man that have created a generator. You know, if you're in need of a generator, we're willing to work with you, you know, where you can have a light. Contact me 07-932-732-851, and we can try to get a generator out to you. Or email me at unisacamara@unisacamara.com, and we'll be more than happy to get this generator to you. That is my number that just came up on the screen. So, right. So we have spoken about, you know, freedom of speech, which indeed every citizen should be entitled to. We have spoken the government, which indeed relate into, it don't matter your father's
People are abusing
father,
their powers.
your,
Yeah.
sorry, Lance?
I say people are abusing their powers, and you don't have the right to abuse your powers just because you are a member of the parliament or you know who is the top of the vice president or this and that. You're gonna go and take advantage on the ordinary person. It's not
But,
good.
but Lance, we are quite aware of the fact that that is not good. And it's still happening. And nothing is being done to correct it. And it's us, well, hopefully, it is us, the children of the country, that elect these people into power. Hopefully, it is us. But how sure are we that who we vote for at the overall count are the people that get into this? You know, African politics are quite dirty, should I say. So we don't know. All we do, but if all we can say is, it should not matter because your father was APC, but stand by what you believe in. You and I had a conversation on the phone. And one thing you told me, Lance, is that people don't know me. I am who I am. And I stand for what I stand for. Do you remember that conversation?
Correct.
I stand for who I stand for. I'm not going to change for nobody. Nobody's going to change me. I'm a man and I believe in what I believe in.
The believer.
So this
Correct.
is what we need to teach our children, our brothers, our sisters. You know. So Lance, just tell us a little bit about yourself, because you were born in McKinney, you grew up in Leone. Tell us about Lance.
I mean, just like I'm saying, Lance is, we've been on the hustle and grinding all over. McKinney, that's why, like, I grew up in McKinney. Francis, primary school to secondary school, all those other streets around, they knew me. Most people knew me around there, you know. And coming back to Lunge and come integrate myself into soccer. We have our soccer team, Strikers United, and all this. A lot of people knew me, even presently, because I'm a man that travel every year or so. But I'm just saying, this is something that they need to stop. You know, they need to stop. And I can't say further than there, but I can't express much. But my thoughts is my thoughts. I like the youth. People need to empower the youth. And these politicians need to stop abusing their powers. And they're supposed to be a unit that's supposed to hold them responsible for this kind of people. Because I don't care if you're X, Y, Z or some, you offend me or you get to my own lane, I'll tell you the basic truth about who you are or this and that. That's the person I am. And I will never change that for nobody.
Okay, I appreciate that, Lance. Lance is someone that is well known in Africa, ladies and gentlemen. Many of you know him. You know, Lance is it's a star in Sierra Leone. So I'm kind of, he's hesitant about saying a lot. And getting him on the show today was quite a havoc because Lance don't do TV. Lance is a modest person. So Lance sometimes making his audio, but he gets straight to the point and about it. But let's talk about transportation in Sierra Leone, because I feel as though a lot of politicians that come into power, Lance, they talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Now, we have spoken about the freedom of speech, which indeed we're no longer entitled to. We spoke about the government, not to say anything negative about them, but relate into, because I was born in APC or this color zone, you know, and so forth. It should not be that. It should be what you believe in. Now, let's
Correct.
talk about the transportation aspect. Let's talk about the streets, the roads, and let's talk about traffic lights. If we're trying to make a change, we're trying to develop our country, the marketplace, and all these different places. We want to attract tourism. Don't you think this is something we need to focus on too? The marketplace. We need these tourists to come in and say, I went to this country. The marketplace was like, if you go to Dubai, that's one thing they always will can always talk about. Anybody that's been to Dubai, like, wow, listen, the shopping is nice. I enjoy my shopping thing. I enjoy shopping in Dubai. I enjoy going to Dubai. You understand? People from America come to London just to shop, enjoy the shopping aspect. People from London go to America, enjoy that shopping aspect. Why can't we develop our market? There's so many people going to Sierra Leone stealing ideas and bringing it. Do you know that bitter cola lands? Bitter cola that we cook on a regular basis, now they're making it into pills here in the UK, making money out of something that we always cook, we always use.
Yes.
Why can't we put these things into play? Why can't Sierra Leone be known for something? How can we put Sierra Leone? Just a general question to you. How do you think we can put Sierra Leone on the map?
My take into that with Sierra Leone on the map is one is the road network is way poor in Sierra Leone. They need to more develop Sierra Leone network. The road system need to be developed, especially the city. When it's raining in the city over there and you see the kind of mess or the amount of water that is running down towards those streets, that tells you the city is not well prepared for any of this kind of system. And my other thought is the key port. The key port is way too expensive for some of us and for people from the diaspora. There's cars over here we need to ship out, but when you try to go to the key port, it's like you already buy your own car. You take it to the key port over there. Now you have to see Mr. XYZ before ever I could come and value up your car. And when the XYZ value up your car, he's gonna give you a price like you coming to buy the car from their hands again. How many brothers and sisters are leaving their cars in the key port because of the key port is way too expensive? Those are things that they need to drop down the price out of it. The airports need to be developed, even if the fares. You buying a ticket fare to go to Sierra Leone, it costs you over 1,000 or so compared to other countries. Because everything is just on that side. And some of them, before ever you try and get stuff done in Sierra Leone, you need to see Mr. XYZ. Why did the middleman have to be on it? Why I could just go straight up? You give me a price of my car, and automatically I'll just put in my money and pick up my car. And it's not good.
That's excellent, Lance. Lance, do you know why this is going on? It's due to the fact that these people are not getting paid adequately. If I'm getting it, like you keep mentioning in America, I grew up in America, we have a big mouth. If I'm working, you don't pay me, I'm going to create a havoc. I'm going to try to destroy everything in the office. In Sierra Leone, they work. They don't know whether they're getting paid this month, next month, 3 months, 4 months down the line. So they try to get monies to provide for their families. And that is what is creating the problem in Sierra Leone. That is
Yeah,
what
but
is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, just as I'm saying, most of this is the top head peoples are the ones squaring up this. All these top politicians or presidents or so. That's what I'm saying. They're not making room for the next person to come in and live on it. Anybody that is into this position or hold on to this position is coming to utilize whatever best he could utilize out of it. And without nobody holding them consequences for that. Let's say go to the mining area. When you go to the mining area, most of the people you see out there is foreigners. The ordinary person that used to be holding a shovel and a pickaxe to be dragging up is to get his own little diamond to survive and his family. Now it's not easy for them. The taxation went up, but nothing they could do for them to help them out. They take all those major sites and give them to foreigners. It's not like foreigners that were born in Sierra Leone. It's foreigners from way out, because I cannot go like an African guy or Sierra Leonean to go ask for a loan and they will give it to me or give me a certain company to me to be operated by the government where I could create and help more of my family or other people. But they tend to take these jobs and give it to the foreigners, Chinese, whatever, white or this and that. As long as you have more opportunity, Lebanese, to get money from the government for you to invest in your country rather than just an ordinary guy who is here. This guy is born here. He knows the system. Let's put him, and he knows how to manipulate so that to get everybody going. It's not happening, you know.
Lance, here in the UK, I met a gentleman, and I'm still dealing with him, Ali. His father used to deal with Sheikh Stephen, and when they went for Sheikh Stephen, they wanted to kill Ali's father. So Ali's father escaped Sierra Leone with him, where his mother was killed during the process. So Lebanese have always been in control of the government because they were given, or they are given, so much money to the government. And you know the saying, money talk, boys walk. You understand? So they're quite involved as far as giving monies. So it's quite difficult to make a change when people just keep going into that scenario as it's about me, 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 me. Never about the country or never about the countryman. So it's quite
Correct.
difficult. And also you made another statement, you know, but Lance, you as a Slovenian, do you think we should depend on the government or do you think we should depend on ourselves? Because we have seen it repeatedly so many times. Don't you think it's time for us to wake up and start saying, you know what, I need to take actions. I need to be responsible for my own action. I need to find a way to build a company or something of a sort, instead of saying, well, the government is going to make way. APC went into power. This show, we don't cater to APC or SLPP, you understand, or no party. This is an open forum. And that's why when you and I spoke, we agreed that this conversation is not going to be about politics. If I go into politics with you, Lance, I know I would lose. So I'm happy that we're not going to go into politics. But the thing is that, don't you think every man should be held responsible for their own action? Don't you think every man should find a way to develop instead of saying, well, me man, I can't go hustle and go out begging? Don't you think we need to find solutions?
Yes, the solution is there, but let me tell you, to any country that thrive to that higher level, it's always the government supposed to be in top. They are the ones, the basic the door, the main door that open up the doors for all these investors to come inside. When the investors come inside, people don't depend on government. If there's jobs for the youth, if there's this training for the youth, people get their skills that they train up, they be able to further do their carpentry, whatever wood shop they're doing, and able to hand their money, they could do it. But you could make up your own wooden shop or your furniture. Some of them they just be sitting down over there for months and months. Nobody's buying it. You know, and the ordinary businesswoman who sells on the street of Eastern Police and this and where they afford to take care of their family, they could come back and kick them out of there. You know, when the government is not doing nothing for them. You know, so people are trying, they're trying the best. But yes, the government needs to do more and more. And they need to stop being greedy and try to share up. They need to stop being greedy.
Hmm? I agree. I definitely agree. The fact is, a lot of things are happening. You know, Lance, we can sit here, we can talk about greed all we want. We can talk about greed all we want, but the show is coming to an end. And sincerely, we cannot keep blaming the government. We ourselves need to know who we select into power. There's so many parties that are being created. And when I was talking to Annie, financially, Annie got the backing. She has anything she wants. She said, I'm going to create my own party, Unisa. I'm going for presidency. We never had a female president. I think it's time. So my thing to Annie was, and I know Annie, I know she did watch. My thing to her is that if you become president, how would you trust you? Because what people say during the election is different than what they do. So the greed is there, Lance. Greed is always there. But it's up to us to be quite selective as to who we bring in.
That's true. That's where democracy lies on, and people to be able to voice out whatever they need to voice out, and able to people's vote need to be well counted. But there's always this corruption. Let's say, okay, there's this guy you think like, well, he's well suitable for this position, but when it comes to election, so now being X, Y, Z already went and bought up the electoral commission, and in the end, they just tend to associate themselves, whosoever they know, yes, or this guy give me more money, so I'm trying and help him to put in. Never go to the vote. Like, oh yeah, the people's vote count just like in the US. But over there, people just tend to do things like, okay, yes, I got to audit this guy. But before I actually audit this guy, I have to send him a message. Hey, I'll be coming to your office to audit you. So what's this next guy going to do now? He's going to send you some money. So when you come to the office or not to come to the office to audit that individual, that's where you know this person is doing wrong. But you're not going to point it out.
All right, Lance, I just want to say it's a pleasure having you on the show today. I really wanted to dig your brain, but you already told me how the show should go, so we're quite cautious. So, as we come to a show, are there any shout outs, as we say in America, shout outs or any people you want to acknowledge before you say goodbye? Please.
I just want to say shout out to my family back home in Lunge. Shout out to the Lunge guys. I get to Yellow and my other family is over here, my kids. So shout out to everybody. All right, so let's all work together and try and find a better Sierra Leone, man. Because Sierra Leone is going way to the bottom. That's all my take out of it. And let politicians stop being greedy. Thank you for having me.
Lance, it's a pleasure having you. Ladies and gentlemen, as the show comes to an end, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I know today I was nonchalant about a lot of them, more relaxed due to the topic. What our expectations of Sierra Leone is that we want a change into the way we decide on what party we go for. We need to say, this party suits me, and we go for that party. We need to give enablement to the freedom of speech, because that is a must. If you take people's freedom of speech away, you take their liability, their freedom away. We should be able to express ourselves verbally. Do not limit the people by taking the freedom of speech away. And transportation, it's ridiculous. If you're coming into power, try to build traffic lights. The roads are bad. The bridge to the airport is bad. Let's try to be constructive. Let's try to bring jobs into the country so the youths will not be in the street where our president will have to call them thugs, where our sisters have to sell themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, as a whole, anywhere you look at it, you travel anywhere in the country, you are a Sierra Leonean, you are an African, you will be acknowledged as that. One day you intend to go back to this motherland, this beautiful country, this beautiful continent. Help develop this country. It takes one man to move a mountain, but ladies and gentlemen, with the help of others, the, the process of moving that mountain goes faster. So all I can say to you is know that I appreciate you. Know that the legacy you leave behind, your great, 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 great grandchildren will follow and will speak of you. Make a difference now. Leave a name behind. Support something. Be a, be a part of something. This continent, remember, people went to Africa. I don't care, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, they see mothers carrying children on their backs. What did they do? They came to London or America and created it where now they can carry children in their front. All I can say is that we have the natural resources, we have the ideas, we have the material. Let's utilize that. I thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed week. Lance, thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you, Raj. Uh,